So many new people are joining Herstemstory family by tuning into this show, by following us on our social media accounts, and from writing to us that how much they love Herstemstory. And I just realized that in the last few weeks and months, so many new people have attached to the show who have started listening, and it's about time that I do a series called My STEM Story, because I would love to share with you who am I and why I came to the US and everything that has sort of culminated to this and then leading up to my TEDx. I thought this would be a great series to do right now. My TEDx is at TEDx Wilson Park on September 11th. So this is why I wanted to tell you who am I, and hopefully my story and lessons will inspire you to have your biggest dreams come to life, because TEDx is definitely my biggest dream. Okay, so super excited. So let's start with the very first episode of this 3-part series, and I can't wait to tell you more about my STEM story. Hi there, this is Prasha Dutra, and I'm passionate about helping you unlock your true potential in your science, technology, engineering, and mathematics career and beyond. Less than a decade ago, I moved to the US from India to live my American dream. I took my engineering career to the next level by starting my own consulting and coaching company while thriving at my 9-to-5 job. Money, time management, career planning, and personal growth are all things we'll discuss here. From expert guests and their stories to my own lessons, this show is an ongoing masterclass in how to believe in your brilliance and conquer your STEM career with confidence. Get a pen and paper and get ready for an education you wish you had in school. This is Her STEM Story, the podcast. My name is Prasha Dutra. My maiden name is Prasha Sarvate, and I have used Prasha Sarvate Dutra in the past. So many variations with same person. And the reason I chose Dutra now is because I just love the sound of it. I like how it fits with my name, and also I love my husband so much and his family so much that I finally felt ready to change my last name. Of course, I'm an immigrant, so it's going to be a while before it's officially changed everywhere. But I'm excited to start using it and start sharing with you now about who am I. My name is Prasha, as I said. What does Prasha mean? It's a unique name, as you must have noticed. It is the combination of my great-grandparents' first names. So their names were Prabhakar and Sharda, and if you join their first letters in the Hindi language, you get Prasha without the A sound. And then when you write it again in English, it's Prasha. And so I remember in school, my teachers used to say Prasha, and I used to get so upset because that wasn't my name. My name is Prasha. And I think over time, I don't even know when this happened, but I think once I got into the workforce here in US, I just sort of started learning the accent and realized that Prasha was the better pronunciation for the accent I was trying to work towards. And without even any realization, I started using Prasha, and it's okay. I love both. So if you call me Prasha or Prasha, you're saying it right, because I love both versions of it. And as a word, it doesn't mean anything. So it's a proper noun that it doesn't mean anything. So it's really, really special. So I love that. And growing up, I was bullied for my name because it was so special. It was so different. And my last name too, right? My last name was Sarvate, which in the north, because I grew up in Delhi, it wasn't a common last name. It's a name from one of the states called Maharashtra, and in India we have so many variations of last names and cultures and places that geographically the last names don't make sense in a lot of different places. So people were like, what does that even mean? How do you say it? How do you spell it? And that was always the case with my last name and my first name. But I think the most important lesson that I learned from having a different name all through my life was by my dad. Like, my dad was obsessed with the fact that I had a unique name, and he wanted me to embrace that uniqueness from day one. Like, I remember being really, really little and him sort of drilling it into me that you're very special, your name is really, really unique, and you need to embrace that uniqueness. You need to never let anyone tell you otherwise. And I'll share a story right here because I was in school and one of the teachers said, "What a stupid name." And I told my dad when I went home. I think I was in 3rd grade. And the next day my parents came to the principal's office. They called the teacher. It was our drawing teacher at the time. And they told the teacher, without saying anything, they said, "What's your name, ma'am?" And she told her name, and they said, "What a stupid name." My dad said that. And you should have seen the look on her face. And he didn't even have to say anything after that. And the biggest lesson as a child that I got in that exchange wasn't that my dad was, overpowering someone or anything, but the fact that you have to stand up for yourself. No matter if it's a teacher or anyone older than you, it doesn't matter. You have to say what's right. And also you have to be very, very proud of your name. You have to be very proud of where you come from and your uniqueness. And you need to always, always, always embrace it. So really, like, from that little, being that little and being raised by 2 cops, I was an absolute rebel. I never tried to blend in. I just always I think I protected my uniqueness in different ways. I was never part of giant groups, like big groups. So I think the lesson here is you're unique and you should embrace that for sure. My STEM story started when I was in 8th grade and I was very, very interested in the trains that we were riding. So India is a country of trains, lots and lots of trains. And we used to go to my grandmother's house and every time we would go there, like, the trains would fascinate me. My dad would tell me all about trains. And, one day I asked him after we came back, I said, how do trains work? Like, how does it even work? Like, I'm just so curious. And he went to his office, and they used to have a dot matrix printer at the time. And he asked some of his colleagues to help him. And they finally found something on the internet, which at that time wasn't publicly available to everyone, at least in India. And they finally got it, and I read through that stack of papers all night. Like, I was up all night reading all about diesel engines and locomotives, and I honestly didn't understand a single word from it, but I sort of knew that that's something that really, really interested me. Also, India is obsessed with creating more engineers. So you usually only have 2 choices, doctor or engineer, if you're good at math by any way, shape, or form. Anything else is really looked down upon, which is not a good thing. But that's just the status quo there. And because I was really good at math, I actually have a national merit certificate in math in my 10th class board exams. I scored 99 on 100, and then in my science exam I scored 100 on 100. And so, I have my merit in science, not in math, but still, that's a lot of marks. So that means I didn't get a single question wrong. And I remember preparing for that exam day and night. I don't think to date I have ever prepared for something with that much intensity and that much passion. And I used to do 100 sums a day, 100 math problems a day for an entire year. And so I was really dedicated. I really enjoyed it. And then 11th, 12th, I wasn't that great. So 11th, 12th, I took math and biology. So in India, you have to choose 5 subjects. And you have an elective between math and biology, and then some other electives, economics, I think. And then I ended up choosing both. And it was a lot of fun. I loved my 8th grade teacher, Anjali Bharadwaj. She was so amazing. And I still remember so much from that class. But the lesson here for all of you is your teachers, your journey matters. And just remembering and reflecting on that sometimes can be a great source of motivation to help you go forward as well in life. And I invite you to join me in this my STEM story series, and I'll make a post on Instagram to help us all get connected. And I'll share more about that at the end of the episode too. But anyways, going back to my story, class 11th, I did so bad. I was just lost. It was so hard. And then in 12th, I actually failed my chemistry exam. Yes, I did. My pre-boards in chemistry, which is really like prelims. So that happened in, I would say like almost like November or December. And then the finals were in April. And so I literally had 3 months to get my act together. And I remember my mom being so scared that something bad will happen. And I don't blame her. That really motivated me to really get my act together, get back into working, putting in the hard work like I did before. Within 3 months, I passed with flying colors, 3 to 4 months. So I did well in my 12th boards, and yeah, it was really, really great. And then, wow, then it was another struggle to get into college. In India, everyone wants you to pass IIT, and I am a proud non-IITian. I didn't get selected in IIT for the two times that I tried to give the exam. And it was one of the darkest times of my life because it really makes you feel worthless. It's so much pressure on you and your parents, and the society is totally, at least at that time, they were totally obsessed. Like, it wasn't even funny how obsessed the culture, the society was with IIT exam. Just to give you an idea, a lot of people, like I think about, if I'm not wrong, about 5 to 8 million people sit for that exam, and only about 8,000 get selected. Like, there are more chances that you will win the lottery. But that kind of spiraled me into a depression when I was studying for that exam in Kota, and I remember being unconscious for like 5 days. Like, it wasn't good. I had some really wonderful friends with me. I was so scared to tell my parents, and I told them, and then they brought me back. So it was a really dark time. And somehow, while getting out of that year, I got selected in Pune University in Maharashtra, India, in Vishwakarma Institute of Technology. I know it's a mouthful. It's VIT, and it's a great college, and I didn't even know that it was a great college. So that's another long story of how I actually got in, because that was really crazy. It was like Amazing Race. Like, we were running from place to place, city to city, trying to get this thing to work and for me to get through this college, because in India, the procedures are very complicated. And so, yeah, that was a journey to get to chemical engineering at VIT Pune. And that's how sort of I started my path into engineering. My biggest role model through this whole thing was Kalpana Chawla, the late astronaut. And she has this quote called, "No dream is too big." And no dream is too big is something that I have lived with. I have lived it, and I have learned it. And my dad was also huge promoter of that exact thing. So if there's one thing you should take away from today's episode, it's no dream is too big. So don't stop yourself. Continue to dream big and continue to share your STEM story with the rest of the world, because it matters and we would love to know more. So this week, if you want to join me in this series, use Instagram or Twitter and share your STEM story and tag at herstemstory, tag us or tag me, and I will reshare it on Instagram, and I will also comment. I'm so excited to learn more about it. There are so many other women who've already done this, and it's just so great. And if you do it, use the hashtag #MySTEMStory, hashtag #HerSTEMStory, and start sharing your STEM story, because there's so much to learn from our stories. And I'm very excited that I'm getting to share mine with you. So I hope you learned something from this episode, and I will see you again next week with part 2, and I'll tell you how I got to participate at NASA's aerospace competition. Really, it's a really great story. So make sure you come back, and we'll talk more about how I came to the US using that competition. So thank you so much for listening, and If you like this show, please subscribe, rate, and review this podcast on any podcasting platforms. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you again next week with a brand new episode of Her STEM Story. Bye!